YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video, joined today by not one, but two very special guests. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Yo, I'm Ryan. I've been Red Pill for at least 5 years.
Super Red Pill. Listen, he put me on the Black Ram first. Right? Like, he was talking about Black Ram before I did the live stream, and before I even saw a video. So, like, Ryan put me onto it first.
I've been following Black Ram for over a year.
And I'm Matt. I mean, it's funny that you guys are talking about that. I'm his little brother.
Yeah.
So he is my, I was just saying, he's my Morpheus. So he's kind of the one who gave me
He red pilled you.
A couple years ago he did.
Blue
so.
pill.
Right. Well, there it is. Well, listen, this is going to be a very special video. This one is dedicated to a very supportive Patreon supporter. Shalcon Shoulder Charts, I see you. Thank you so much for the support.
I've seen that name before.
You see him? Yeah, he be going
I
in.
like his voice,
he goes in. Listen, here's the video. MTandR aren't fooled by traditional women. And this video comes by way of Think Before You Sleep. I'm not familiar with this content creator. I know
I've seen some of his things. He's pretty in depth. He's pretty I mean, he's pretty raw. I mean, it's some pretty deep stuff that he does.
All right. Well, let's take a look at this video. All right. Without further ado, let's get right in it.
Point out that most people live in the world that they would like to live in, as opposed to the world that actually is. This way of thinking frequently prevents people from seeing things that are completely obvious. One of the things that these idealists are blind to is that people by their nature are not selfless. They're actually selfish. It's a key mistake that communists make. Both communism and socialism are based on the idea that people are selfless, and that principle is an absolute requirement for those systems to work. To people who are more basically centered in reality, it's no surprise that when the communists and socialists collect money for social welfare, they just end up looting the money for themselves. They do that because people are primarily selfish, and the political system allows them to do so. Not the only reason socialism and communism don't work, but it's a pretty big one. Everyone's primary motivation for doing things is to serve themselves. If that wasn't the case, then humans wouldn't have survived all of the terrible situations that got us here. Sometimes the moral thing is not what allows you to survive. You know, in situations like when the barbarians come to town and kill the men, their wives don't stay loyal. They go right to the men who murder their husbands because that allows them to survive. Or, at the very best, some of the wives stay loyal, the barbarians then kill them, and then the genes and the ideas of the wives who weren't loyal get passed on to the next generation. And understand that this human trait is not a bad thing. It actually makes people far more predictable. If you understand that people are primarily selfish, then you will know exactly how to act when you are trying to get what you want. If you assume that all people are selfless, then don't be surprised when you try and don't get the things that you want. So with that said, let's talk about traditional women. I was searching through some old videos that I've saved over the years, and I found this little gem sitting in a folder labeled MGTOW. But before I show it, I would just like to say that I appreciate the extreme honesty from this person. In fact, I enjoy honesty from all types of people, including people who do immoral things. When immoral people are honest, it's almost redeeming because they are notifying others of all of their tricks. In the case of this YouTuber, feminism has made the world so bad for traditional women that she has had her hand forced. The most selfish thing that she can do at this point is to just be honest.
So yesterday I had a fucking aneurysm over this. That means if something happens, we get to go to war too, just like the men. Yay, equality. So fucking ecstatic right now. Couldn't you tell? And you know who made this great thing possible? Feminists. But despite that, I hate feminism because it takes away any benefits we had for having a vagina.
The last thing she said was spot on. We should all be thanking feminism because nothing has made men more aware of female nature than feminism. I think her honesty really shines in the next clip. But before I get to that, someone has been nice enough to sponsor this channel.
There's a lot going on right there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot.
I've actually seen this about a week or so ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he started off the content talking about that people are inherently selfish. And if you believe that people are inherently selfish, then you are thereby guarding yourself. And he was using like a description between communism and like in the like the facets that are needed to make communism valuable is that you have to be selfless. But that doesn't happen. People just extract where they can because they're selfish, right? So now he's drawing a parallel to that, to this video of a woman saying that feminism is the reason why women might get drafted, right? So I think I know where he's about to go, but let me get you guys' initial thoughts based off of what we just saw.
So yeah, for selflessness and selflessness, I would agree with that point. I really think that, I mean, growing up, you're kind of naive and you think everybody's out there, you know, treat everybody the way they want to be treated and things like that. But essentially, I mean, me being someone I've worked in management, you know, and just worked as a leader to people for so long, and then that point right there makes it so much easier to just understand people and what motivates people and why people do the things they do, is that they are going to take care of themselves first. I mean, you wouldn't ask anybody that question. They say, oh no, I'm pretty selfless, you know, I would look out for people, but deep down inside, the way we make our decisions, we are pretty selfish in that regard. And I think that's sometimes the way you have to be, essentially. I mean, it would be very unwise. I mean, if you go through your whole life being very selfless, you could end up getting taken advantage of by the rest of the people who are very selfish. So it's unfortunate that's that way, but I would agree with that.
Yeah. Now, do you guys think that so here's what happened in the video so far, right? He was describing human nature, which was to be selfish. And then he's going into an example from a woman that's specific to dating. Right? So I argue that a lot of this selfishness stuff, it's human driven. It's not just women driven. You know, men have selfish things that go on with them as well. So let's talk about that real quick, because I think that it's important to make a distinction here that, you know, oftentimes what I see happening is that creators will use analogies and examples to prove a point and then direct it directly to women, right? Like, do you guys think that there's more of a biological difference that would make women more selfish than men, or I don't know?
Actually, let me pass on that, because I'm reflecting that.
I mean, he kind of touched on the biology a little bit, like, hey, if barbarians came and, you know, the people who the unloyal genes would be passed down, because, you know, anybody that was loyal to their original husband would probably be killed as well. They said, hey, no, I'm only gonna be with my husband, that's it. But the ones who said, okay, hey, fine, I submit, whatever, then, so there's a sense of that. I mean, I can see how you can make a case in that regard, like he was doing there, but I do think that it does make it harder for people, you know, whether it's men, whether it's blue pill white knight, or, you know, women, to hear the messages that a lot of, you know, really smart red pill content have, is because it gets turned right directly on towards women, like, hey, women. And so it makes it hard where if you keep it more of like, hey, this is the biology of people, this is the way people are, this is men nature, this is female nature, this is human nature, because right now what he's touching on sounds like a human nature thing, so if we keep it at that, it'd be much easier to digest. But I think as you turn it like, and so see, this is a woman point, then it makes it harder to.
And one of the things, one of the things you see in like the red pill circles is what they call about the hierarchy of love. And what they say is, you know, like, if you're talking about love in terms of like self-sacrificing or, you know, all that kind of love, the hierarchy of love goes men, you know, sacrifice and especially their lives for a woman, you know, to save a woman. Women kind of, they don't reciprocate that, but they kind of do it for their children. So they do that kind of sacrificing and, you know, especially their lives for their children. So, in that way, like, we're self-ish, you know, in the fact that we're looking out for ourselves and our number one, you know, person that we're sacrificing for, and then we're selfless in the sense that we're sacrificing for someone else.
That's real. So you think our selfishness between men and women is different?
Because we love differently. Men and women love differently.
We definitely do. Because I mean, he said it. I mean, he hear this too. And I wonder too if it has a lot to do with, you know, the male ego, right? Like, and being competitive in a way that's a lot more visible with other men, as opposed to, you know, like, you know, typically with women, because they're not known for like fighting as much. They're not larger people, right? So like they have much more of a social hierarchy, which when that social hierarchy, especially if like you look towards like social media today, like you can see it on social media, kind of what the social hierarchy is, and it's a lot more important to them, which is one of the reasons why I don't know if you guys have seen like the suicide rate in teenage women has gone up astronomically over the last 10 years. And researchers think that that's a component of it, right? Because they challenge themselves more on their social status as opposed to what men do, right? So the selfishness can be directed in a different way. It sounds like what.
Yeah, I mean, to go with what you were saying, it's like if in that barbarian example, or if aliens came and took over the world, it would be men would say, "Hey, kill me, don't kill my wife."
Women and children first.
Yeah, and then I think women would be like, "Hey, kill me, don't kill my children."
Exactly.
Where it'd be very hard. You have to do like a big case study, but I feel like most women would probably say, "No, I'd step up and be the one that would be." Take me first. Don't kill my husband. Don't kill my kids. I don't really think. I feel like it would be more of like, hey, let the men would have to go, and then but don't touch my kids.
Right.
Those are that's who they're going to be completely selfless for is their kids.
All right, well, we're only 3 minutes in. Let's get back in here and see what else you have to say.
I feel like we had it good. It's been my dream and probably so many other girls' dream just to be like a lazy hoe. Lounge around the house all day, go on the computer, go on the internet, watch some fucking videos, play with my cat. No, that's not a euphemism. Maybe even stab my emoji plushies. There were so many things I could do at home. Like even guys out there watching this video, would you not want to like sit on your ass pretty much all day? No real or crazy obligations to fulfill. Being comfy as fuck. This is how the natural order used to be, Women would go and they marry a guy and the guy takes care of them. And then the woman takes care of the kids if they have kids. So you had the option of being comfy as fuck and not having to really do much. Kind of just like open our legs like a clam, and we were set. Also, the fact that we could go on dates and get free food. I mean, that still happens, right? But guys used to like pull the chair out and stuff like that. We had it good. Didn't have to do much except for look pretty and pop some babies out of the pussy, and we were good. And not even just that, but like if we're in a public place and a guy touches us, if we say anything, we just basically get white knights everywhere coming to our fucking rescue. No, but then here is feminism in the current year, just fuck our shit right up. Just take away all the good shit we had. Now I have to worry about having my period in the middle of a fucking war zone, getting acne from the dirt in my fucking face. Then have the other some number of girls on my team fighting the fucking war, having a cat fight about some stupid shit like, oh my god, she's such a stupid fucking slut. She fingered herself with the trail mix. Like, is that what you really want? Like, what the fuck is wrong with feminists? Do you not want a comfy life? Do you not want free shit given to you? Do you not want like fucking free white knights if anything goes wrong? I mean, I fucking hate white knights on the internet, but in real life, if someone's trying to punch me, yeah, I'm gonna welcome the white knights if I can't take on the person by myself.
Women are almost never this honest, even though we know that most of them think this way, even though we know that most of them will use their attractiveness to get free stuff and special treatment from men. This girl has told you who she is.
At this rate, in 10 years from now, guys are gonna expect girls to go to the gym and have a six-pack too. Fuck that, I'm a lazy hoe.
She said she is lazy and wants to sit around while her husband does all the hard work. She said she is willing to manipulate men to do things for her without returning the favor. Things like free dates and getting white knights to do things for you. Knowing that people are selfish, imagine what would happen if you married this chick and expected her to do actual work outside of watching YouTube videos. The traditional woman's job was to handle all the daily tasks like cooking, cleaning, event planning, educating the kids, etc., so that the husband could go to work and just focus on work. That allows the husband to be in a higher skill category because he can focus on getting better at his career instead of doing housework, and that allows him to make more money. You can have a one working parent house where the husband is a chief executive officer, or you can have a two-parent working house where mom and dad work crappy retail jobs making minimum wage. And on that subject of the stay-at-home moms, yeah, technology like washing machines have made that stuff easier, but all that should mean is that she is now freed up to do more activities that benefit the household. Oh, I don't have to spend time hand washing all my clothes, and now I can spend time learning how to become an expert chef. But how many women are taking up that freed up time to focus on other things that benefit the household. How many traditional college graduate women even know any of these skills? How many traditional women expect their husband to do housework and throw a fourth wave feminist style fit when he suggests that it's her job? How is this YouTuber going to react when her husband puts her in her place and tells her no? How would she react if he threatened to take her easy life away by getting a divorce and removing all of his financial support? Well, we know it's human nature to be selfish and to use any means necessary to survive, so we know it's going to happen. Just look at what happens with other people when...
All right, just real quick, let's pause there because I think he's about to transition into something else. So he showed a video of the girl. Was she being serious?
I'm trying to remember if I've seen her clip, and I think I did. I think it's hard to tell, but I think it does expose her level of narcissism. Mm-hmm. You know, even she's espousing traditional values in a very narcissistic, selfish way. Yeah. And so I think that's his point. Is like he was just kind of exposing, like even traditional women have a little bit of like selfishness or narcissism.
Yeah, I think number one, I feel like we all should be experts in detecting that type of personality. Yeah. Like I feel like no matter how much of a fantastic actress that she is, I still feel like and even thinking through like the beginning of this video, just assuming selfishness and looking at their actions to prove otherwise. And that really is the definition of a unicorn, right? Like someone who can look up outside of that selfishness, and then for you they'll be selfless, for an extremely long period of time, right? I think what bothers me about this, and I got another video coming out about being a stay-at-home mother, is the thought that like she only just wants to be a trophy. Yeah. There's a wide variety and degree, right? Like when you think about the role of a stay-at-home, right? Like there's some that just want to be a trophy and not do anything, and then there's some that just want to take care of kids, and then there's some that want to take care of kids and then open up a business, and then you get all the way to the far right of like, no, they want to be, a lawyer, right? They want to be a doctor, they want to be, working in a corporation, just as much and as frequently as you, right? And then some like want to take care of kids and do that, and then some is kind of just focused on their career. Right, so like there's a wide swath and variety, right? Like I think like here's the problem is I just don't want to just characterize all of them with that. Yeah, I feel like it's a majority, it's a majority that have this type of thought process, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, listening to it, it'd be very easy to like poke holes in the way she's going about it and saying like, hey, that. Anybody could look at this and say like, hey, she's an outlier. And so while there's things that I would agree with, think before you sleep on, like how he was kind of leading up to it, I think that, using this as an example would make it very easy to be like, oh no, like that's not the best example to show that people are selfish. Yeah. Because she did kind of have like a joking, sarcastic tone that went through it. But I do think, I still believe that people are selfish. Like if somebody had the choice between, hey, if you could work your full-time job all day, and do your grind, if you could do that, or you didn't have to do that, what would you choose? And all you have to do is like, hey, I would say, well, shoot, I would just go to the gym every day. I wouldn't just sit around and be lazy all day. I would do other things that I really wanted to spend, that 40-45 hours a week that I'm using on, work in my career.
You're right.
While it's great having, a job and a career, it's like, do I really want, if I had all that time every week, what would I be doing? Mm-hmm. And that's where, most people would say, no, I'd want to have my career. I love my career. I love what I do. I love, that's what I'm doing. But when you think about it, it's like, is that what you would want to do if you had the choice? If somebody came in and said, hey, here's $1 million, here's $5 million, whatever, go do what you want to do. You would say, no, I'm going to keep going into work because I love what I'm doing. No, people would say, no, like I'm going to go to the gym in the morning. I'm going to, work on, maybe it's YouTube videos, maybe it's photography, maybe it's, whatever. It's whatever your gig is, whatever you like to do. Or some people say, I'm just going to sit on the couch all day, like office space.
Yeah, most
I'm
people would not like donate like $500,000 to like poor people.
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to find a charity and donate. Like that sounds good, but when you actually get that money in your lap, would be selfish.
Make
in that
selfish
regard.
decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the car, get the house, whatever. You know.
For you and those in your general vicinity. All right, cool. You guys want to keep on going? Let's
I feel like we're
We got the gist.
yeah, we got the gist.
we got the gist of it.
Yeah.
I feel like men aren't fooled by traditional women. I don't think that she's a traditional woman. She just sounds lazy. She just a traditional woman is someone who's going to want to support and nurture you as the man is out, you know, being the best that he can, right? Like everything that she was saying is just, first of all, it sounded like it's in jest because it, you know, the way that she started it is saying women going into the draft.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a real thing. Like it just feels like that's not something that's really up for consideration. And then she starts making jokes about, you know, being on her period on the battle lines, and I don't. It's hard for me to take this as something that I can put into my toolkit to judge people on in the future. I understand his first points. I think it's healthy to go, if you go in thinking selfish, right? I think that you can make better choices in protecting yourself. However, at the same time, you do limit the value of your connections. You do limit but it's just the risk in standing up those values, you know, by letting additional people in, right? You can get additional value from them, but then you also risk them bullshitting with your time, right? It kind of goes both ways. So,
Makes sense.
all right. You know what? Let's just do like 1 or 2 more minutes. Let's go back in.
When their survival is threatened. When feminists thought Kavanaugh would repeal abortion, they got women to commit obvious perjury by saying he raped them or was sexually inappropriate. For those of you who watched my Bikram video, who was a famous yoga teacher, Bikram fully financially supported many women in his life, and when he cut them off, 6 or 7 of them accused him of rape and sexual misconduct with no evidence and no police report years later. What about what they did to Jeffrey Epstein? Those politicians were so worried about their survival that they would rather commit a completely obvious murder so that they wouldn't be revealed as pedophiles. These people will kill you if you threaten their way of life. People are going to do what's necessary to survive. This is why you have to understand this. If you want people to be good, then you have to put them in an environment where it is beneficial to be honest. You do that primarily by punishing dishonesty with ostracism. So if you put people in a place where honesty and goodness are rewarded, then they will be honest and good. If you put people in a place where dishonesty is rewarded, then they will be dishonest. If you want to know how people are going to act, then you have to pay attention to the environment. And just take a look at our environment. Everything about it is designed to make women dishonest. And traditional women are not immune to this. Women from a young age are propagandized into wasting 4 to 6 years or more of their youth in college getting useless degrees when they should be spending that time building good relationships with men. If she wants a career, she can always go back to school after having kids. However, instead of doing that, she graduates at 24 with an average of $38,000 of student debt and about 4 years left on the clock before all the good men will start avoiding her. Because of feminism, women have been encouraged to be sexually promiscuous. This is a problem because unlike men, there is no big limitation on how many sexual partners a woman can get. For the most part, all women have to do to get sex is just say yes. When you put that into practice, by the time she's 24, she's not only $38,000 in debt, but she's been passed around by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different guys. She's older, less attractive, in debt, and has ruined her ability to pair bond by sleeping with tons of guys. But as long as she wants to be a lazy stay-at-home mom who makes her husband do housework, she can still call herself a traditional woman. She has all that damage done to her from out of the gate, and then she gets married. Back in the past, when the powers were more balanced, when you had a problem, you spent the horrendous amount of effort it took to solve it because otherwise you had to deal with that person until you died. Now, if you have this slightest problem, she can end the relationship. And just look at all the cash prizes she can win in a divorce, and even if she fails at that, she can still just go on welfare. Look at how much she is rewarded for enslaving her husband and depriving her kids of a 2-parent home. Even women who we didn't expect to do the worst have done so. I know this is old news at this point, but it's relevant, so I'm going to bring it up. Michaela Peterson, the child of the father of traditionalism has become a single mother completely of her own choice, citing that it just didn't work out.
Yeah, we just were talking about a second ago. It seems like he's using examples that don't. He's making very good points, and then he's using examples that are like loosely connected to the points that he's making. This is the second time that he's done done this in the video. Yeah. The point that he was making that I think that was key is, let's talk about it, guys. Whether or not you're, a traditional woman or non-traditional, what he's saying is that you are not incentivized to do good.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no incentive if once you get married. So let's talk about that real quick. How do you guys feel about that? Like, do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think we've incentivized particularly women over the past few decades to, under the guise of female empowerment, and to do what they want to do. And you can't do that as adults. You can't do what you want to do. Like, so you have to have a limitation. You have to have accountabilities for your actions and consequences, and you can't make excuses. So when you do that, that's another point I was making with family the other day. You actually inadvertently handicap women. When you spoil, or just think of children. When you spoil children, you actually inadvertently handicap their growth. So
you think that there's images and things that are being shown to them that's not helping them grow and be realistic and help them get the things that they actually want.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and I feel like what you're saying is kind of led by the charge of kind of the feminist movement and the far extremes of it. Like I think like there's degrees of the feminist movement that I equity of pay, if that's what they want to do, fine, have at it, go at it. But there's other components of it too that like, to think that we can have an equal amount of sexual partners, like it just doesn't feel right to me. You know what I mean? Like, because our biology is so different. Right. You know what I mean? You got an innie, I got an outie. Like it's different. It's different. Different things going into that.
Yeah. So they had the key and gate analogy. I'm probably gonna mess it up, but the key and gate analogy, it was just in there. But I think that's a really, really good point, and why it's hard to make that. Well, hey, you've done that. You've had so many partners. Why is it a problem if I do? Mm-hmm. But to get back to what we're going in with, like divorces, like no fault divorces, I think that makes it almost like it incentivizes somebody to get a divorce. Yes. Financially, whether it's child support, alimony, that somebody could essentially, if you really wanted to, if somebody really wanted to, I guess a man or a woman could do this, but it just seems much easier for a woman to do, is, have a kid with somebody, have child support, 9 months later have another kid with somebody, have child support, 9 months later have another kid, have 4 different babies' dads.
All that child support.
Yeah, and have all that child support, and the way child support is set up is, it's not, it's like, hey, if you have, so many kids, it's still that father's obligation is to that child. Mm-hmm. So if she has multiple children, then it's still, let's say 500 from that child, 500 for that child, 500 for that child, 500 for that child. But her cost of living doesn't go up, which all those children could be all in the same bedroom, essentially. It's not like she's getting a 6-bedroom apartment or a 6-bedroom home. She's getting a 2-bedroom home. And so all those kids, and even the cost from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom is not that much different. I mean, 1 bedrooms in Columbus, $1,000, you get a nice 1-bedroom apartment. To get the 2-bedroom plan, you're $1,100, $1,200. It's not like it's $2,000 for the 2-bedroom. So it's all those costs just keep getting, it's not getting broken down, and there's no way to really measure that. It's just number that's put down. So
but we definitely incentivize divorce. No fault divorce, particularly. So.
There it is. All right, guys. I'm trying to keep the videos to 30 minutes going forward. So, listen, that's been the reaction. Gentlemen, Matt, Ryan, thank you so much for coming through again. Mm-hmm. We got to make sure we got to keep up the reaction, the content. Mm-hmm. Shao Kahn Shoulder Charge, thank you very much for the video suggestion, my G. Appreciate it wholeheartedly. All right, anything to say before we get out of here?
Oh, hey, thank you for having us, man. I look forward to doing
thank you.
some more.
Listen, yep.
It's not the first, nor will it be the last.
Yeah,
all right?
I'll keep sending you stuff as I see them because there's some good stuff
Same
out
here.
there, and it's fun to break.
Yeah,
stuff
we've been in contact too. So you know, I'll try to whenever I'm in town, you know, I'll hit you up and stuff. So
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Until next time, you two.